Welcome to today's deep dive. We are exploring a really, highly provocative, deeply unapologetic philosophy today.
Oh, yeah, it really does not hold back at all.
No, it doesn't. It's drawn from Grant Cardone's Be Obsessed or Be Average. And our mission for this deep dive is to basically figure out uh, if what society constantly tells us about finding balance.
Right, the whole work-life balance thing.
Exactly. We want to know if that is actually a massive trap, like the very thing keeping us from living extraordinary lives.
Which is a huge claim to make.
It is. We are looking at a framework that asks this really fascinating question. What if being called obsessed is actually the biggest compliment you could ever receive?
Wow, yeah, that flips the whole script right there.
It really does. If you look at how we are typically taught to approach our goals in life, it's a lot like being handed the keys to a multi-million-dollar high-performance Ferrari.
Okay, I like this analogy.
Right. But so you get this Ferrari, but you are strictly instructed that you are only allowed to pedal it like a bicycle.
Yeah, you have this incredibly powerful machine at your disposal,
Yeah.
capable of generating massive momentum and doing amazing things.
But you're just, pedaling it.
Right, you're deliberately restricting its output to match the speed of a 10-speed bike.
Because we all want the Ferrari level lifestyle, right? But
Yeah.
we are only putting in bicycle level effort.
Yes, exactly.
We are terrified of actually revving the engine and seeing what the machine can really do because society's constantly in the background telling us, hey, keep it down, don't go too fast, make sure you stay balanced.
Yeah, that word balanced. It's held up as the ultimate gold standard of modern life.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we are conditioned from a very young age to believe that a balanced life is synonymous with a successful, healthy life.
Yeah, for sure.
But this philosophy challenges that deeply ingrained modern ideal entirely. It makes a really bold claim. It says, if you look at history, the people who actually moved the needle, who achieved the most extraordinary things,
Greats, basically.
right, they were not balanced. They were utterly, relentlessly obsessed.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because to figure out how to be extraordinary, we actually have to take a hard look at the opposite. We have to look at why most people remain average.
Right, the default state.
Exactly. And the core philosophy here gives us a perfect case study to explore this through a character named Alex. And Alex represents, the default setting for most of us.
Right. I think everyone knows an Alex, or has been one.
Totally. Aren't we all a bit like Alex sometimes? Because he wants success. He wants a better job, more money, a happier life. But he is stuck in this endless loop of zero change.
Yeah, Alex's situation really highlights a foundational disconnect. He desires extraordinary results, but his behavioral inputs remain strictly ordinary.
He's putting in bicycle effort.
Exactly. He operates under the assumption that wanting an outcome is somehow like a down payment on achieving it. But if you look at the mechanics of his behavior, he only works when he feels motivated. And he retreats the second he encounters friction.
Well, wait, I want to push back on that a little bit, though.
Sure, go ahead.
In modern psychology, there is a massive emphasis on things like visualization, manifestation, finding your why. Doesn't having a deep desire or a strong sense of motivation count for something? Isn't wanting it the first crucial step?
Yes, desire is a compass, absolutely.
Yeah,
But it is a terrible engine.
a terrible engine.
What's fascinating here is the neurochemistry of motivation. Motivation is essentially just a spike in dopamine, anticipating a reward, right?
Okay.
It relies heavily on the limbic system, which is tied to fleeting emotional states. So when Alex relies on motivation, he is basically relying on a chemical high.
Ah, I see.
You might wake up on a sunny Tuesday feeling incredibly motivated, but by Thursday morning when it's raining, you're tired and you face a complex problem at work.
That dopamine is long gone.
Exactly. That spike is gone. If your behavioral output is strictly tied to that feeling, you stall out immediately.
So relying on motivation is basically hoping the weather stays perfect for your entire road trip.
That's a great way to put it. And we know the weather never stays perfect. This is the psychological trap of passive transformation.
Right.
We trick ourselves into believing that because we want something very badly, the universe will somehow meet us halfway. But reality operates on a strict input-output mechanism.
Wanting a better physique doesn't lift the weights.
Right. Wanting financial freedom doesn't make the sales calls. Alex's actions working only when chemically inspired by a good mood guarantee that year after year, the output remains zero.
Which brings us to the jarring concept that completely shatters that loop. It's the phrase that anchors this entire mindset, be obsessed or be average.
It's intense.
It really is. Now, when you hear that, your immediate reaction is probably to recoil a bit. It sounds extreme. We treat the word obsession like a dirty word, almost like a
It's
pathology.
an illness, yeah.
Right. If you tell your friends you're obsessed with your business or your fitness goals, people look at you with genuine concern. They tell you to take a vacation.
Yeah, they tell you to slow down.
Yeah.
But if we connect this to the bigger picture, we have to examine why society reacts that way.
Okay, why do they?
This brings us into the realm of normative social influence. Humans are profoundly social creatures, right? We're evolutionarily wired to survive in tribes.
Right. Safety in numbers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In a tribal setting, conformity is safety. If someone in the tribe suddenly starts behaving radically differently, working 14 hours a day, refusing to participate in leisure activities, obsessing over a singular mission,
It makes people uncomfortable.
it threatens the equilibrium of the entire group.
Wait, really? So society telling us to stay balanced isn't necessarily about our well-being. It's about protecting the comfort of the group.
That's exactly it. It is about maintaining the baseline. The messaging we constantly hear, don't work too hard, don't dream too big, stay comfortable, is just the tribe trying to pull the outlier back to the middle of the pack,
Wow.
because the middle is safe. But this philosophy argues that average thinking mathematically creates average results.
Right. You can't do what everyone else does and expect to be different.
Exactly. The world's greatest athletes, the most disruptive entrepreneurs, the most prolific artists, they did not achieve greatness by conforming to the tribe's request for balance. They achieved it through an unstoppable commitment to their mission.
And we need to clarify what that commitment actually looks like because obsession here isn't about working endlessly without purpose.
Right. It's not mindless grinding.
Exactly. It's not about grinding yourself into a state of misery just to prove you can suffer. It's defined as an internal, unstoppable pull towards your goals.
An unstoppable pull.
Yes. But if that pull is the engine, there is a massive roadblock sitting right in front of the car preventing you from moving forward. And that roadblock is the human desire to fit in.
The approval addiction.
Yes, the approval addiction.
This is perhaps the most difficult hurdle to clear. I mean, Alex spent years paralyzed by the fear of what other people thought.
The fear of criticism.
Exactly. And we feel criticism so deeply because, again, going back to biology, our brains interpret social rejection using the same neural pathways that process physical pain.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, being criticized literally hurts on a neurological level.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because the turning point for breaking this addiction isn't about fighting the criticism. It is a fundamental mental shift.
Right.
It's realizing that successful people do not ask for permission to chase their dreams. They don't wait for a committee to validate their ambition.
That's so crucial. When you constantly seek approval, you're basically outsourcing your potential to the lowest common denominator of the crowd.
Because the crowd will always advise caution.
Always. By breaking the approval addiction, you reclaim a staggering amount of cognitive load. Just think about how much mental energy is wasted every single day worrying about how you are perceived.
Oh, ton.
Right. Phrasing things perfectly, avoiding judgment. When you redirect that newly freed energy inward, focusing entirely on daily self-improvement, you unlock the capacity to execute what is referred to as massive action.
Okay, I have to pause here.
Sure.
Because massive action sounds great on a motivational poster, but let's talk about the reality of it. When most people hear that, they imagine like running in 100 different directions at once.
Sleeping 2 hours a night.
Yeah, drinking 10 cups of coffee until they just collapse. Doesn't taking massive action just inevitably lead to chaotic, catastrophic burnout?
Well, that is the immediate assumption most people make, but it fundamentally misunderstands the mechanics of effort.
Okay, how so?
Massive action is not about frantic, uncoordinated energy. If you look closely at the framework, it is about the consistency of compounding directed action. It is much better to understand it through the concept of a heavy flywheel.
Like the mechanical disc that stores rotational energy.
Exactly. When you first start pushing a massive metal flywheel, it takes immense, agonizing effort just to move it a single inch.
Yeah. Yeah, it's super heavy.
If you are frantic and push it in random directions, it just wobbles and goes nowhere. That is the burnout you are talking about.
Ah.
But if you push it in one specific direction, consistently, day after day, momentum begins to build. Every phone call, every workout, every new skill you learn is a push on that flywheel.
So it's about the sheer volume of focused, purposeful steps compounding over time.
Yes. And biologically, This is actually how we build skill. It's a process called myelination.
Myelination.
Yeah. Every time you repeat an action, your brain wraps the corresponding neural pathway in a fatty substance called myelin,
Okay.
which acts like insulation on a copper wire.
Hmm.
It makes the electrical signal travel faster and more efficiently. Small, consistent actions literally rewire the architecture of your brain.
That's incredible.
Right. So over time, actions that once took massive conscious effort become automatic. That is the true nature of massive action. It is the compounding effect of consistency, shielded from the distraction of social approval.
So what actually happens to a normal person? Someone just like you, listening to this deep dive right now, when they combine this immunity to criticism with this compounding massive action.
Well, the narrative shows us exactly what happens to Alex.
Right. He stops making excuses, he wakes up earlier, he learns new skills. But crucially, he stays focused when others give up.
And the tangible results are significant. His confidence grows, income increases, and opportunities expand. But it is vital to understand why this transformation occurs.
It's not luck.
Exactly. It is not the result of a lucky break or being in the right place at the right time. It is driven purely by relentless commitment.
So what does this all mean? It means that transformation isn't magic. It is the inevitable mathematical result of matching extraordinary inputs to your desired extraordinary outputs.
A perfect equation.
Yeah, and I love the reframe this philosophy offers regarding how we view hurdles. Because when you are fully committed to your mission, obstacles stop being excuses to quit and simply become mechanical challenges to solve.
Right.
Like when you are just interested in losing weight, a rainy day is an excuse to skip the gym.
Oh, absolutely.
But when you are obsessed with building strength, a rainy day is just a puzzle. You just move the workout to your living room. The obstacle doesn't dictate your momentum.
This raises an important question about how society traditionally views success, particularly when it comes to the concept of talent.
Oh, talent, yeah.
We have this profound tendency to look at people operating at the absolute highest levels and attribute their success to a genetic lottery. We say, wow, they are just so gifted.
It's the ultimate defense mechanism.
Yes.
Because if someone is just magically genetically gifted with talent, it completely lets the rest of us off the hook.
We could just say, well, I wasn't born with it.
Right. We don't have to feel bad about our own average output because, hey, we just weren't born with that special talent gene.
It is a very comforting fiction. But this philosophy firmly dethrones talent as the primary driver of success. I mean, talent certainly exists. It can dictate your starting line or give you a slight multiplier on your effort.
But it's not the engine.
No, it is not the engine. The fundamental difference between the average life and the extraordinary life is the level of commitment. The framework draws a stark, unyielding contrast. Average people chase comfort, while extraordinary people chase purpose.
The world does not reward the people who just kind of want it. As the core philosophy states, the world rewards those who are obsessed with becoming better, not those who settle for average.
That really sums it up perfectly.
And that is really the beating heart of this deep dive. If you want an extraordinary life, the path is right there in front of you. Don't be afraid to dream bigger than the people around you. Don't fear hard work and never apologize for your ambition.
Never.
Greatness begins the exact moment you consciously refuse to settle for the middle of the pack.
As we synthesize these ideas, I want you to actively examine your own baseline. Look at the mechanics of your daily routines. Where are you currently choosing the safety of comfort over the demands of your purpose?
That's a tough question to answer, honestly.
It is. Where are you allowing the fear of criticism, the fear of someone in your tribe calling you obsessed, to act as a brake on your potential? The transition from an average existence to an extraordinary one isn't entirely within your control, but it requires a ruthless, radical honesty about whether your daily inputs actually match the life you claim you want to live.
It is time to stop pedaling the Ferrari, guys.
Exactly. Start the engine.
But before we leave you, there's one final provocative thought I want you to chew on as you step back into your day.
Okay, let's hear it.
We've spent this entire time looking at how an obsessed mind handles obstacles, right? How it pushes through the fear of criticism and how it uses massive action to force a breakthrough.
Right.
But what happens when you finally get there?
Oh, that's interesting.
What happens when you put in the compounding effort and you actually achieve that extraordinary life? Is it possible that the ultimate final test of your obsession is not how you handle failure, but how you handle your very first taste of massive success? Does achieving your goal make you comfortable, causing you to slip right back into being average? Do you suddenly start worrying about balance now that you have a reputation and a lifestyle to lose?
That is the real trap.
Or does that success merely pour gasoline on the fire, fueling the obsession to reach even higher? You have the keys. The only question now is whether you're ready to permanently keep your foot on the gas.